The day started like every other day. I got up, had a shower, got dressed, and walked over to Jeremy's house, who was sadly my best friend. After a few hours of sitting in his house, we decided to go out. It was this day that we discovered the grim secret about the field that nobody ever seemed to visit. You see, apparently the field was haunted by a ghost, or paranormal being. Of course, being a level-headed chap, I never bought into that shit. However, people always felt uneasy around the place, almost like there was a cold, eerie aura being emitted. Still, it never bothered me. After all, ghosts aren't real, are they? We were kicking the ball about in the street as usual. Jeremy isn't the best player in the world. He's always kicking the ball into other people's gardens or at their windows. We always end up having to fetch the ball from a new place each week. Usually we just laugh at how bad he is and retrieve the ball as normal. However, this time there was no laughing. Jeremy had kicked the ball into the field. We both looked at each other. There was a fearful look in Jeremy's eyes. He gulped, and in a croaky voice he said,
"Well, one of us needs to get the ball back."
Anger flared throughout my body. "You're the one who lost the bloody ball, you fetch it." I don't know why I even bothered telling him to fetch it. I knew trying to get Jeremy to fetch the ball from the field would be like trying to get blood from a stone. Bloody coward. The light was starting to fade from the sky and the street lights were beginning to flicker on, piercing the darkness with its dim light. I knew that it was up to me to enter the field. The only way into the field was through a large, padlocked door. A massive metal fence surrounded the entirety of the small field. Reluctantly, I walked up to the gate and prayed that I wouldn't be able to enter. I carefully laid my hands around the padlock and my heart dropped. The padlock had come away in my hands. Immediately I felt something wasn't right. Stupidly I decided to open the gate and enter the field despite being warned. Tentatively I looked around. This was just an ordinary field. I yelled to Jeremy, "Come on in, there's no ghosty in here." What a load of fuss over nothing. I bet the story was just a hoax made by some drunk teenagers. I didn't get a reply from Jeremy. Scared bastard probably ran home with soiled underwear. Out of the corner of my eye I saw something sticking out of the ground. It intrigued me. Nobody ever comes in here, so I decided to take a closer look. After inspection I found it was a paintbrush. A weathered old paintbrush was planted into the dirt. Looking at it made me feel uneasy, as if it meant something. Something I probably didn't want to know. A sudden chill ran throughout my body. Someone was behind me. My initial reaction was, "Jeremy, you damn joker." However, Jeremy had just ran home piss scared 10 minutes ago. It couldn't be him. Slowly, I turned around, heart in my mouth. I didn't know who or what to expect. I gazed at its face, a pure white spectre. It had a ghostly body and seemed to be wearing a tattered, black and flowing robe. This thing slowly drifted closer and closer towards me, until, when it was almost upon me, it opened its ghastly mouth and let out the most soul-tearing screech I've ever heard. I didn't think, I just ran for my life. I sprinted out of the field and into the streets, hands against my ears, trying to block out the deafening scream. Tears streamed down my face as I ran into the darkness of night. I didn't stop running until I reached my house. I took a deep breath. Maybe the thing wasn't real. Maybe I'd imagined it. No, I couldn't have imagined that scream. Nobody could have, unless I was mad. I fumbled around in my pocket, looking for my keys to unlock the door. As I put the key into the lock, the door slowly swung open. Someone had opened it. I heard a loud crash come from upstairs. My body turned numb. My pulse jolted and every fibre of my being screamed at me, telling me to get as far away from here as possible. But I had to continue. I couldn't let this fear follow me to the grave. Against my better judgment, I entered, stepping into an uncertain fate. I peered into the darkness, sweat dripping from my head. I'm not exactly scared of the dark. I fear what's lurking inside of it. My first decision was to call for help, so I rushed to the telephone and hastily called the emergency number that my parents had left me. The phone began to ring.
Pick up.
But all I could hear was static. The sound spread an unnatural coldness throughout my body. It seemed to erode all happy thoughts and memories from my mind. Now there is only me and it. The phone disconnected, leaving an eerie silence in the room. I heard another loud bang come from the kitchen, just to my right. My jaw dropped open and saliva dripped from my mouth. I ran up the stairs, tears falling from my face, heart racing, mind whirring. I feared that the end was nigh. Dark thoughts about death and pain began to fill my head. I felt an overwhelming urge to throw up. As I reached the top of the stairs, I heard a noise coming from where I had just been. My sanity began to abandon me. I started to laugh quietly to myself. I fled into my room, sanctuary, and quickly decided to hide underneath the desk. I assumed the fetal position and slowly rocked forwards and backwards, laughing manically. I muttered faintly to myself, "Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine." A soft and whispery voice began to speak. My head was buried between my legs, but I could still hear it.
Everything is going to be okay. I'm going to make it nice and slow, just like it was for me.
I don't remember much after that, only pain. They found my lifeless body under the desk where I sought refuge, cold and dead. What people did find strange was the eyes drew on top of my eyelids, and the paintbrush that had been buried deep into my hand. Later, I found out that the ghost had been an art student. She was brutally murdered and buried in the field. The killer had left the paintbrush where she was buried, almost like a sick memorial, a tribute to his kill. I felt sorry for her in a weird way. At least I was dead. I can move on from this world. But she can't. That girl is destined to roam the mortal realm forever, killing in order to forget her sad and dejected past.